Good evening and welcome to tonight's episode of the Tying Corner at Sweetwater Fly Shop. I'm Jimmy and we are going to be going through a Hare's Ear variant stonefly nymph that we fish out here on the Yellowstone River. Good for any time of the year. Very simple to tie, and we're going to start things off with our hook and bead. We got a 4XL size 10 and a 5/32 tungsten bead, and I'm using some brown thread here.
Would you tie this any bigger than a 10?
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, stoneflies get real big out here on the Yellowstone as they do in a lot of other rivers. So yeah, by no means does this have to be a size 10. A number 6 is actually what I would prefer to tie this in. So the first thing we got going here, we're going to use biots for our tail. A good trick I like to do is you build up a little thread dam at the base of the hook, and that'll help our legs splay out as we tie them in. I'll show you in 1 second here. So we'll get our biots and you flip them so they curl away from each other, and try and get them on either side of the hook shank right there, and do one loose wrap over top so you get them in the right position, and then pull the tension straight down there. And you guys will see here in a second that you get a nice splay on those legs when you do it like that.
Oh yeah.
And keep tying all that stuff in. Alright, next step, we'll get some sort of ribbing. I'm using a wire. You can use flash or any other color ribbing you like. This is just a silver medium ultra wire. And go ahead and secure that down in there nice and good. And bring your thread back to the base where you started that tail. Alright. And now we're just going to work some natural hare's mask, hare's ear dubbing into our fly. You know, little bit at a time. When I use my dubbing, I don't like to go crazy and do a big glob on there front. You know, it's always better to do it in sort of smaller parts and just add as you see fit. No sense in going crazy right away. So we'll just sort of add up this taper as best as you can here. Start as skinny as you can and build out nice and wide stonefly body. Just keep on plugging it in, twisting it. Another trick with dubbing is when you're spinning dubbing onto your thread, always spin it in one direction, the same direction. When you start going back and forth, that's when you'll start noticing it gets harder to work with. Alright, so get that about a little bit more than halfway up the hook shank, and we'll start our wire ribbing. Notice how I go underneath first, and that sort of helps you not mess with the way your tail fibers are sitting. And then you go ahead and secure that wire down there. Do a little helicopter, get it off there.
Let it focus for a second.
That's your back half. And next we're going to start working with the wing casing here. I got a little piece of pearl flash, and we'll just go ahead and set this directly on top of the hook shank here, and you'll see that how it sits right on top there.
Medium pearl opal tinsel?
Yes, Brewer, that is correct. Medium pearl tinsel. You could use anything like crystal flash, flashaboo, whatever you want. I have this fancy stuff that I'm using right now. Next, I got a piece, about 1.5 inch piece of Swiss straw. This is a really cool wing casing material. Looks real good when it gets wet. Adds a lot of bugginess to this nymph. So we'll go ahead and secure that nice and tight. So we got just our thorax that's last, and a little bit of a diversion from your standard hare's ear nymph. We're gonna spin our thorax in a little bit of a dubbing loop here, add a little bit more texture and a little bit more leg to the fly. So we'll go ahead and get our dubbing loop ready here. If I can do it. And then just another couple pinches of that hare's ear dubbing. Same materials we were doing the rest of our body with.
And you want really loaded in there, right?
Really loaded in there. You can always reuse what you don't use. So go heavy, really spin it, and you'll see how it wants to stick up on itself. And keep spinning it, make sure it's nice and tight in there. Alright, and then you just fill in that thorax space that we have left. Alright, we can clean that all up at the end. It's okay if it looks a little jumbled up right now. Alright, and then the last piece here is folding our wing casing over. One trick with the straw is if you use your bodkin and sort of kink the straw over top of it, I'll show you in a second, it adds a real nice bump in the wing case. It looks realistic. And we'll go ahead and secure the straw down, chop that off there, and then last piece, we'll just go ahead and pull over that pearl flash that we set in there before the straw, and make sure she looks straight for you, and get some nice securing thread wraps in there to finish off that fly. Alright, and a couple whip finishes in there. And that's ready to get caught by some Yellowstone trout right there. It's a good hare's ear variant. Real simple to tie. You know, a lot of options here with colors and material substitutes, but give this one a go and have a good night.